On the news, Lagos to discharge 6 patients who recovered from COVID-19. Federal government begins tracing over 4,000 people for the coronavirus. And US records unemployment figure of 3.3 million as COVID-19 spreads. Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Anetta Felix. Special Assistant to the Lagos State Governor on Health, Tunde Ajayi, has announced a win for Nigeria in the battle against COVID-19. In a tweet on Thursday, Ajayi said 6 coronavirus patients at the infectious disease hospital have recovered and would soon be discharged. This comes as the Nigeria Center for Disease Control confirmed 51 cases of the coronavirus as at March 25th. Out of the 21 confirmed cases, 2 have been discharged, while there was 1 death recorded. Lagos has 32 confirmed cases, FCT 10, Ogun 3, Raul Ekiti, Oyo, Edo, Bauchi, Osun, and Rivers State have 1 confirmed case each. The federal government has begun tracing the contact of over 4,370 people who may have been in contact with a coronavirus patient. The Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, said this while addressing pressmen on Thursday. Mohammed said the government was doing its best but was facing some challenges because some persons had given wrong addresses and phone numbers in the forms. He therefore urged all who have had contact with suspected cases to immediately report to the NCDC for testing. The governors of Ondo State, Edo State, and the Minister of Information and Culture have all tested negative for the coronavirus pandemic. The Ondo State Commissioner for Health, Wahib Adigbenro, confirmed on Thursday that Rotimi Akeredolu had tested negative for the virus, while Lai Mohammed announced his negative status while responding to a question during a media briefing on Thursday. Also, Special Advisor to the Edo State Governor on Media and Communication Strategy, Kruso Osagi, disclosed that Governor Godwin Obaseki is negative in a Thursday statement. To stop the exportation of the coronavirus disease to states that do not have it, the federal government has announced certain measures. This includes stopping interstate and intertown travels, except for essential services, closing all motor parks and interstate rail station, and using firefighting and other adaptable vehicles and personnel to fumigate cities and towns. In a statement on Thursday, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the intention was not to create panic, but to safeguard the health and well-being of Nigerians. He added that if Nigeria does not urgently and aggressively enforce certain measures, the country faces the risk of an explosion in terms of the cases. Now, as the battle against the novel coronavirus intensifies, the federal government is releasing a sum of 6.5 billion naira to the National Center for Disease Control as an emergency intervention. This is according to a statement by Bashir Ahmed, personal assistant on new media to President Muhammadu Buhari. The 6.5 billion naira is the highest tranche to be released for the coronavirus intervention. It is the third tranche of funds to be disbursed by the government after the first and second tranche of 364 million and 620 million naira respectively. This brings the total amount released by the federal government to tackle coronavirus to 7.484 billion naira. Meanwhile, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has donated the sum of 50 million naira as a relief fund to support the federal government's battle against the coronavirus pandemic in the country. In a press statement he personally signed on Wednesday, Atiku said his contribution will help form part of a stimulus package for Nigerians. Also, the United Bank for Africa has promised to donate 5 billion naira towards Africa's response against the coronavirus pandemic. UBA's group chairman, Tony Elumelu, said the global pandemic must bring citizens, governments, and business leaders together and quickly to play their part in saving humanity. The Pan-Continental Financial Institution will make the donations through its non-profit arm, UBA Foundation. Now, just like Elumelu and Atiku, more business tycoons are lending a hand of support to the Nigerian government in the fight against the scourge of the coronavirus. Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, and Managing Director of Axis Bank Group, Herbert Wigwe, are leading a coalition of private sector organizations to support the federal government in tackling COVID-19 in Nigeria. The initiative, which is called the Coalition Against Coronavirus, COCOVID, will involve the erection of fully equipped medical tents to house coronavirus patients and serve as testing, isolation and treatment centers. Zenith Bank, GT Bank, MTN, ITB and others are collaborating with Dangote Industries Limited and Axis Bank Group to fund the COCOVID project. They are tasked with the responsibility of mobilizing the private sector through leadership and resources, creating public awareness and directing support to private and public healthcare institutions. Recall that the Aliko Dangote Foundation had earlier pledged a sum of 200 million naira to support the spread, to help curb the spread of the coronavirus in Nigeria. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has unveiled fumigation equipment to disinfect and sterilize the state. Governor Sanwo-Olu announced this through his social media handles on Thursday. Sanwo-Olu said the equipment will be deployed to fumigate every part of Lagos, including public spaces and surfaces. The statement reads, quote, "Aggressive times calls for aggressive measures. Therefore, we will aggressively tackle this novel coronavirus and bring its catastrophic reign to a complete end," end of quote. The governor added that all hands will be continuously on deck until Lagos is at 0 new infections and ultimately 0 transmission. Still in Lagos State, most traders have been complying with the 7-day stay-at-home order by the Lagos State government. At the popular Oshodi market, most shops were under lock and key, with only traders of essential services like food and water conducting business. Lagosians have been airing their view on the partial market shutdown.
It's not a good idea because Lagos, no one can stay at home in Lagos because Lagos has been a very busy place, you know. People go out every day to get what they want, you know. So I don't think it will work in Lagos State. This stay-at-home issue, I don't really think it will work in Lagos State. I know it's because of the coronavirus, but staying at home is, well, it's good for safety. But on the other hand, most people go out every day to get their daily bread. I don't expect some people to sit at home. What would they fall back on when they sit at home?
You know, Oshodi before is center of Lagos, you know, and it's a very big market that anything you want to buy, you see. You understand? But since this the breakout of the virus, the coronavirus, so the government asked everybody to stay at home, which we abide by the rules and regulations of the government. So I believe with this, maybe we will be able to know what's going to happen maybe after a month. You understand? So we know which way to go.
Meanwhile, economic expert and international consultant to the World Bank, David Brown, have been reacting to Lagos's directive for all workers in the non-essential services sector to stay at home. Speaking to TV360 Nigeria on Thursday, Brown says it will be difficult for Lagosians to comply with order and market closure.
It's going to be extremely difficult. You have to understand that most Lagosians feed every day. They work to eat, so to say. So if they don't work for a week, it's going to be extremely hard. So unlike probably you and I that probably have some reserves, most people unfortunately don't have reserves. So there has to be some concerted efforts to ensure that while the lockdown still happens, people can get the necessary things they need to live. So it's a whole effort. Everybody needs to pitch in for this to work.
It's the third day of partial shutdown of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Vehicular movements on major roads have drastically reduced, indicating that Abuja residents are taking the advice of the government to stay indoors to contain the spread of the coronavirus. But one area of concern is still the markets in the FCT. Buying and selling are still going on, and that's a development that seems to be making social distancing impossible.
The market is a place you must come to, because if there's a lockdown, how do you feed? How do you feed? So for now, people must come to the market. You can see how I'm properly dressed. That's properly dressed in coat, right? Yeah. But we can't avoid coming to the market. And from the look of this, you can see the body contact. We can't avoid it. So I'm sure today some people will go home infected, if you know what I mean. Unfortunately so, yeah. Some people will go home infected because you cannot stop the body contact. So what they can still do, maybe they can put a curfew, we come at a specific time and leave the market at a specific time. But for now, it's okay. We're buying food.
What we are selling, everything has run down. Nothing is going up apart the hand sanitizer and face masks. So that is the only thing selling now. Our businesses have stopped. Nothing is selling. It's only hand sanitizer. So we follow and selling together with other people that are selling hand sanitizer and face masks.
If we don't obey the instruction to shut down and clean the whole place, automatically the city will shut down by himself when the thing gets increasing. Because the medical facilities we are supposed to have are not there. Even when it's ravaging the villa, you see the way they have to run some equipment there and tested everybody. But what we have is God that is still preventing it.
As the coronavirus continues to spread, the Islamic movement in Nigeria is raising concern over the health status of their leader, Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, and his wife, Zinat, who are in detention. Speaking on behalf of the Academic Forum of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, Abdullahi Musa condemned the condition of prisons across Nigeria, saying the overcongestion of prisons raises concerns and questions on the safety and health of inmates. At the Abuja press briefing, Musa says the continued detention of the couple in the Kaduna prison should be reconsidered in light of the coronavirus pandemic.
The Sheikh is seriously ill, as everybody is aware, and the Kaduna clinical facility doesn't have the capacity to handle the previous cases, the cases of the health of the Sheikh and his wife, let alone with the coming of the coronavirus. How do you think the doctors and the medical personnel in Kaduna prison can handle this issue? So what we are saying is the government should free the Sheikh. He has committed no offense, and the public should take care of, should follow the guides given by doctors and medical personnel to avoid being infected by coronavirus. Because as it is, we don't have facilities. The government, we have people at the seat of power that doesn't care about the masses. So the masses should be vigilant about this coronavirus. So we have, it's worrisome being Sheikh Zakzaky, despite his health status in prison, and with the coming of the coronavirus infection, I think it's worrisome.
A record 3.3 million people applied for unemployment benefits in the United States last week as the COVID-19 pandemic shuts down a large part of America's economy. According to the Labor Department, the number of new jobless claims filed by individuals seeking unemployment benefits rose by more than 3 million to 3.28 million from 281,000 the previous week. Laid-off workers say they waited hours on the phone to apply for help. Websites in several states, including New York, crashed because so many people were trying to apply at once. This figure is the highest ever reported, beating the previous record of 695,000 claims filed in October 1982. Paris Saint-Germain have made a 100,000 euro donation to France's charity to help fight the coronavirus crisis. The money will help provide aid and support to children, the elderly, and the homeless who have been affected by the pandemic. France currently has the world's 5th highest mortality rate from the coronavirus, with more than 1,300 deaths. Meanwhile, UFC star Conor McGregor have announced that he is donating to hospitals in the Republic of Ireland during the coronavirus pandemic. Over 1,300 cases of COVID-19 and 7 deaths have been recorded in the Republic of Ireland. You're still watching news now on TV360 Nigeria. We'll be right back with more stories. The Kaduna Zonal Office of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has secured the conviction of a former sales assistant of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Abdul Kadir Salihu. According to the EFCC, Salihu was convicted before Justice Z.B. Abubakar of the Federal High Court in Kaduna State over fraudulent activities that summed up to the tune of 6 billion naira. Salihu was arraigned on the 3-count charge before Justice Abubakar, and he was in charge of loading manifest at the Kaduna depot of the NNPC. He was arrested on the 29th of October 2019 and arraigned today, Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. A federal high court sitting in Lagos on Thursday has granted a post-conviction bail to a former Abia State Commissioner for Finance, Ude Udogu, who was convicted of 7.65 billion naira fraud alongside former Governor Orji Uzokalu on December 5th, 2019. Justice Mohammed Idris sentenced Udogu to 10 years imprisonment, while Kalu bagged 12 years imprisonment. But this afternoon, Justice Mohammed Liman granted bail to Udogu in the sum of 50 million naira on the grounds of ill health and chronic tuberculosis. The judge said tuberculosis is a dangerous disease which can easily affect the other inmates at the correctional facility. He therefore granted 50 million naira bail to the applicants with 2 sureties in like sum. Spokesman for the Katsina State Police Command, Gambo Issa, says they have rescued 12 kidnapped victims in the state. In a press conference on Wednesday, Issa says the rescued victims were handed over to the Secretary to the state government, Mustafa Inuwa. The rescued victims, mostly women and children, were reportedly kidnapped by a group of bandits along the Yuntumaki-Burunkuza Road in the Musa local government area of the state. They were rescued following a joint operation of the Nigerian police, the army, in partnership with the state government. The SSG has now ordered their immediate treatment, welfare and reunion with the respective members of their families. News Now will be right back after this break. Do stay with us.
On TV360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country?
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that band.
TV360, providing clarity to issues.
You're welcome back. Here's Onyi Adekunle with business stories.
Thank you, Aneta. Nigeria's refineries under the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, incurred a total expense of 218.18 billion naira in 2019. The refineries, namely Kaduna Refinery and Petrochemical Company, Port Harcourt Refinery Company and Warri Refinery and Petrochemical Company recorded a cumulative loss of 149.23 billion naira last year. Nigeria, Africa's top oil producer, relies largely on importation for refined petroleum products, as its refineries have remained in a state of disrepair for many years, despite several reported repairs. The refineries, which are located in Port Harcourt, Kaduna and Warri, have a combined installed capacity of 445,000 barrels per day, but have continued to operate far below the installed capacity. Figures obtained from the NNPC in Abuja show that the refineries recorded cumulative revenue of 68.96 billion naira, but jointly incurred a total expense of 218.18 billion naira during the year under review. And oil prices fell on Thursday, ending 3 sessions of gains as movement restrictions worldwide to contain the coronavirus pandemic destroyed demand and overshadowed expectations that a US $2 trillion emergency stimulus will bolster economic activities. Brent crude futures fell $1.04 to $26.35 per barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell 94 cents to $23.55 a barrel. Both contracts are down by 60% this year. The U.S. Senate on Wednesday overwhelmingly backed a $2 trillion bill aimed at helping unemployed workers and industries hurt by the coronavirus pandemic, but with the demand disappearing and output rising, the outlook is currently bleak. We'll take a short break here and return with stock market review. Bearish sentiments eased on the NSE today amid investors' confidence in banking stocks. The market index rose marginally by 0.13%, with 24 gainers against 8 losers at the end of trading session today. In addition, the overall market capitalization closed at 11.338 trillion naira, which represented an increase of 15 billion naira. Now, in summary, market activity continued weaker as volume and value declined 61,000 units and about 320 billion naira respectively. Banking equities remained the toast of investors as trading in the stocks of Guarantee Trust Bank, Union, Access topped the list of gainers today and offered the market a boost despite uncertainty presented by the coronavirus pandemic. Cadbury, also from the consumer goods sector, also chalked up gains worth 9.73%. But moving on now to the losers table, where Nestle is sitting atop, and this particular equity has seen a great deal of bearish sentiment in recent times, and today Nestle's share price fell further by 85 naira to close at 765 naira per share. Stanbic also saw a price drop of 1 naira 80 kobo. Julius Berger and GlaxoSmithKline took the 3rd and 4th spots on the losers chart respectively. And to international markets now, FTSE, although in the greens, is actually retreating as traders fear record jump in US jobless figures rather, and Dow Jones is surging by over 5%, 5.2% actually. But sadly, Nikkei reversed previous gains after Tokyo saw a resurgence in cases of the coronavirus. And that's it from here. It's back to you now, Aneta.
Thanks for the update, Oyi. Moving on, Mali's leading opposition leader and 3-time presidential aspirant, Smaila Sassi, has gone missing during election campaigning near Naifunke town in central Mali. In a statement, Sassi's Union for the Republic and Democracy, URD party, says the politician and his 11-man delegation had been unreachable since late afternoon on Wednesday, when they were expected to reach the village. The URD referred to the group's disappearance as a kidnapping, but did not give any more details. Vice President of the opposition party, Mandani Traore, says the party has set up a crisis committee, while urging the government, military and the UN peacekeepers to help find the missing group. Shanghai Shenhua have offered Johnny Gallo a staggering 400,000 euros a week contract in a bid to convince him to stay at the club rather than joining Manchester United permanently. The 30-year-old has been an instant hit at Old Trafford since his January loan switch from the Chinese club Super League side. Odonigalo has scored 4 goals in his first 3 starts at the Reds to set up a permanent summer switch to his dream club. And this is coming as Manchester United's manager Solskjaer hinted that he would hope to make Ighalo's loan move a permanent one if he continued his fine form until the end of the campaign. And that's it on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Anetta Felix. Thanks for watching.